Agree with Alan Greenspan, we ought to just eliminate the debt ceiling. Oh, absolutely, we do.
The ability of almost every working American to access more credit than they should have been able to masked the underlying fact that lower and middle class incomes were not rising.
That's not a tenable strategy. Isn't now the time to eliminate it? Oh, we've been a long time ago.
Let's put aside terrorism. Let's talk only about our own homegrown animals that are patrolling America right now. So it goes down to the simplest thing. Be prepared, be vigilant.
This is a metaphorical piece of magic here. 2017, Father's Day morning. A walk on a long road, a long country road, county road, let's call it a county road. To some people who haven't lived in this area, some people have spent most of your time in cities, stuff like that. You might call this a country road, but I would call this a county road. There's a lot of traffic, a decent amount of traffic for a Sunday morning. But this is highly metaphorical of Father's Day right now. I look at this situation, you know, the roadside is very much wild, littered with Queen Anne's lace or wild carrot, if you don't know it by that name. Blackberries abound, right? Dandelions, bull thistle, those types of things. And I'm on a road. I'm on a long road. And above me, the clouds are gray. The sun's trying to peek through, but I don't know if that's going to happen today or not. And I'm walking this long road. And you're probably gonna struggle to hear me sometimes. There's a wind blowing, and it's not a breeze like a nice, cool, calm breeze. It's sort of like an ominous wind. You know, one of those winds that foretells a serious thunderstorm is on the way. Like that, you see. I'm sure you hear that. I'm sure that's kicking up on the mic. And I kind of like that for this. I like the sounds of the cars rushing by. I like the idea of the ominous wind. Because I know, cars are hilarious. I think this is it all comes together and sort of paints a picture of what it is to be father, especially in 2017. This is a metaphorical look at what that is and what it takes, right? We are on this long road that is fatherhood. This road that never truly ends, right? From the moment that baby's put in your arms, whether you understand it or not, whether you quantify it or not, you realize, oh, I'm on this road that's never ending. Yeah, one day they'll turn 18, and one day maybe they'll go live with a woman or a man or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is, you are pretty much in it for life. You'll die probably with your children at your bedside if you're lucky, if you have the ability to keep that relationship up, which is no easy feat. Right? It's no easy feat. No easy feat to get along with anybody for 40, 50 years. Let alone people you tell what to do all the way. So I'm on that road that is fatherhood. Figuratively and literally. You know, and I'm on this big long road this morning because I decided not to go to the gym. We're on the side of town where we go to the gym, but I'm battling some kind of, I don't know what it is, something the children have brought home to me. And it's been winning. In a big way, it's been winning. And I'm not ready to break my body down yet. I've got to get back to full strength. But when I look around at the landscape, man, not just this physical landscape I'm looking at, though it is a good metaphor for what we're talking about, I look at the real struggles of a father in this day and age. You know, what are fathers struggling with in this day and age? Fathers today, they don't want to become the guy on TV, right? They don't want to be the idiot. They don't want to be the Chevy Chase, caricature father who makes the big mistakes and lets the family down. There's still a lot of ego in a father. You got to understand that, and that's a good and bad thing. You know, it's that ego that drives you to make more money, to work harder, to stay up later, to do more. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you keep it under control, you don't scare your wife away with it and your children. But the challenges of a father are many. Right? You want to do good, you want to do great, you want to make your family proud. You want to get out in this tough world where men are under attack almost always, and you want to make a difference. You know, you want to get in, you want to get to a high level, a high rung at your job. You want to be someone who can brag a little bit. You want somebody to be somebody that your children can look up to. Right? I mean, what do you think in the year 2017 when we're talking about the struggles of a father? Because dad only gets one day to really talk about the struggle. You know, the rest of it is kind of put on the back burner. Because life is hard. And it's not because your wife doesn't love you, and it's not because your kids don't care. It's because life is hard, man. And there's not a whole lot of time for people to sit and gripe. And there's not a lot of people who want to listen to it. That's just the reality. You know, that's just the reality. We hear a lot about the struggles of others. The kids getting bullied at school, right? And the wife struggling, working 2 jobs as single mothers. It's all very real. But it doesn't discount what a father goes through in this world, right? Trying to protect his wife from the wolves out there. And there's both that very real physical protection, and there's also that, protection from the guys that want to just swipe her away. There's a very real group of people who just want to swipe her away from you, take her. You know, if you're lucky, man, and you've got a beautiful woman, smart woman, then yeah, you've got competition, married or not. You know, and maybe you have a great, faithful woman. Still got to be very careful. You still got to be on your A game at all times. You know, the last thing you want is a regretful and spiteful woman to deal with. Because you're under that pressure as well. Right? So you have your children, you have the good job, you have the beautiful wife. But you're still under the pressure of the fact that divorce has been so normalized. Right? It's almost looked upon as sort of an upgrade. You know, you see divorced couples who get along and they do a good job at it. And it's one of those things where it becomes an easy temptation for a married man or a married woman. Because it's always easier to buy. We live in that kind of society, right? It's always easier to buy new than to fix the old. That's one of the core issues with America and marriage today, is because we live in a throwaway society, thanks to places like Amazon and Walmart. What a hassle it is to fix something when I could just buy something new, right? And you think Amazon, okay, yeah, Walmart, they've created incredible channels of access for me to get in and get exactly what I want, search for it real fast, boom, back out. And rather than go ahead and fix the screws that fell out of my watch, I just buy a new watch. Well, whether you realize it or not, the same thing has happened with marriage. Same thing has happened with marriage. I mean, you just look at things like Tinder. Look at things like Match.com, right? Let's say you met your husband or you met your wife. Well, we're talking to fathers. So you met your wife, you know, at work, high school, whatever it is. You've been together for a decade, couple kids, whatever. You know how it goes. And like any relationship, and the way all relationships go in life, you take damage. I always liken it to like a battleship. You know, there is a certain amount of damage that a relationship can take, a battleship, before it just sinks. You know, and there's nothing, you can't patch the hole. There's too many holes. There is a limit. There's a definite limit. But it's even worse when you have the idea that, man, I don't have to go through any of the awkward dating moments. I can just go over to Tinder and take care of my needs like that. Or I could go to Match.com and find someone who is almost identical to me. This roadside is filled with delicious blueberries. I can't believe... blackberries, rather. I'm sorry. I mean, I just can't believe how abundant they are on this roadside. Anyway, sorry, distracted. And it's that same access issue. It's an access and it's an excess issue. Now I have access to all these women. Look at all, oh man, look at this one, the red one. I want the brown one. I want the blonde one. And it becomes, in some people's minds, it becomes, well, it's a lot easier to just buy a new one and fix the one I got. You know what I mean? And that's a very real struggle of a father. Why? Because we want to win. As men, we want to win. Even when we say we don't want to win, we want to win. And sometimes we say we don't want to win because we can't engage. Right? As a man, I can speak from my own personal experience. I can't engage unless I'm going to win, or else I become a bad man. You know what I mean? In other words, I could stay on the peripheral with certain things and say, oh yeah, I'll come play dodgeball with you guys and we'll have fun in an adult league or something like that. And I had to keep myself in a mindset where it's like, okay, look, we're going to go here, we're going to have a good time, we're probably not going to win, no big deal, it's just, mentally prepare. Because when I do get into something where I'm here to win, I'm going to be number one, that's what's going to happen here, then I have to. Professionally, it's always been that way for me, and that's why I've always had big success professionally. I'm always number one. I have to be once I decide to be, or else I go insane. And a lot of that has to do with being a man, That has a lot to do with what being a husband is, what being a father is. And it's men like us that make the world go round, like it or not. Like it or not. But when you talk about the struggles of a man, this is what I mean. The desire to keep the family together. Right? I want this family to stay together. No, I don't want to break the family up. I don't want the family to be parted and parceled. I don't want to see that for my family. No man does. Sometimes they fall in the pitfall, or, sometimes they make a good decision and decide to get divorced. It's not always the worst thing, but man, it's so much better when you can make it work. When you put in the work and make it work, it's so much better. So this it's not really meant to be a bitch session. Not really meant to be a bitch session for all men and fathers. But it is to talk about the importance. Now, what the big message is today is the voice of the father. And that's where we get to the part of the show where I need the request. I place the request for the voice of the father to come back to America. What does that mean? Do you know what I mean when I say the voice of the father to come back to America? It means that dad has been relegated in public settings primarily. Because he's loud, because he can be ostentatious, because he can be controversial, because he can scare the kids. And what I need is for the voice of the father to come back to America, because now we have topics, we have things that we need to talk about. And we need to talk about them around our kids and our wives and the public. We need to talk to people about the fact that there are radicals in this nation who are putting us all at risk. I need the voice of the father to speak up on the issue and take action. Understand, you better be prepared to protect your family, because the cops are not. They might get there. They're going to eventually get there. But as we've seen in London, either you come prepared or you've got to live with that. or you've got to live with that for the rest of your life. And that's a very staunch reality. It's something you don't want to be faced with, It's time to carry your weapon, whether on your person or outside your, or concealed. Look at your laws and find out what you can do with that handgun that you keep in your safe all the time. Can you put it on your side? Can you get away with carrying it? Why not? See, I don't look at it as this is something fathers need to do to have a firefight. I look at it as this is what the American male does to become, again, the great deterrent. Our military is the great deterrent. Our location is a great deterrent. But now that we have enemies within, which we do, and they come in all shapes and sizes, by the way. Trump is putting the hammer down on MS-13, and I can promise you, what do you think their reaction is going to be? You think they're going to put flowers down like the people of London do when they lose some soldiers? You think they're going to lay flowers out? No, they're not going to lay flowers out. They're going to steal your daughter and burn her in a barrel. That's what these type of people do. So what I think the father needs to do, what I think the American male on a whole needs to do, is let his voice be heard. Carry your weapon as a deterrent so that people understand, oh wow, look at the percentage of Americans who are carrying. Look at the percentage of American men who are carrying in this country. That's kind of frightening. The left and the progressives, they'll be terrified. And we'll astonish them like we always do, and you'll see that there won't be hardly any violence from the people who conceal carry. But we need the voice of the father back. We need it at the supermarket. We need it at the gym. We need it everywhere. It's hard because we're faced with all this information that seems to be opposite of what we think and know to be true. Right? We don't want to be overbearing on the wife. I want her to have freedom, be able to do what she wants to do. But at the same time, we cannot allow people to put themselves at risk. Can't do it. You can't do it. And the best thing for you is to be loud about it. And to make people understand what it is you're feeling, what it is you know to be true, and what it is you need to get done, and what it is you need them to do. And when people are talking about things that don't make any sense, or when you see something, say something. I need the voice of the father back in the nation, at the schools, everywhere. I look at it this way. See, you think because you get to walk into a room and everybody smiles at you and you smile at them that, oh man, I have a lot of buddies. I got a lot of buddies at the school. People love me and they love my kids because I'm quiet. I do what they say. It doesn't matter. They're never going to help you in life. They're never going to help you on the street. And there's going to be no long-lasting relationship there. Even if you get in a battle with the father of your kid's best friend, none of that matters. What matters more is that you plant a seed in the head of that man. You plant a seed in the head of that person that you talk to, and you say, look, you need to rethink this thing. This world is not as nerfy as you think it is. So fathers, I want you to enjoy your day. I want you to relax. Do whatever it is you want to do. I'll probably be going down water slides head first with my kids today. That's my plan. That's my plan. Get out there. I'll wake up tomorrow. I'll feel like death. Fever will be back. I'll be dead. Be going into writing gigs, feeling like a nightmare. But hey, at least I'll be in my own house, enjoying my life, But that said, I need the voice back. I need your voice back. I need the voice of the father back. And for those of you out there who are not fathers, make sure you talk to Dad today. Make sure you talk to Dad today. Dad's going to be dead soon. Soon 30 years, soon 50 years, soon 60 years, soon 10 years. When you lose Dad, it's always too soon. That's a guarantee. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you get the time in to give him a call. As soon as I wrap here, as soon as I press stop on this thing, I'll be calling Dad myself to see what's going on with him. You know, I probably have told you this story before, but I think we'll end it on this story. There was a time in my life, probably about 22, 23. My dad, I've told you before, phenomenal fisherman. You know, any compliments that I get about my fishing skills, they really pale in comparison to a man who has been, since he's about 30 years old, just completely enraptured and entranced in fishing. It's complete and total eaten up is the way my father-in-law would put it. That's what he says about me and fishing. Oh, he's ate up with it. My father's been in the eye of the storm for, 35 years now. No brakes, no foot off the gas pedal. You're talking 60 miles an hour fishing, spin fishing, fly fishing for bass, fly fishing for trout. And he's a master now. You know, he's a legitimate master. You know, when you get around masters, you know, whatever their master's at, it's very easy to understand, oh, okay, I'm around a master now. And I remember being around the master almost 10 years ago. And it was a time we'd been fishing less. I was getting married, wasn't quite married yet, but I've always been about 5 years ahead of myself. Always able to tell, you know, what's coming down the pike. And I knew the kids were coming. I knew I was probably moving to Virginia. And I was looking at Dad, flipping that fly line up in the air, dancing it in the air. And I wondered to myself, how many more trips down the creek with Dad do I have left? And it was a life-changing moment for me. Because for the first time, you got to understand, I went fishing with my dad from about 10 to 22, 23 every weekend that it was warm. Every weekend the fish were biting. And when you get in that rotation, you start to think to yourself, oh, well, Dad's just going to be here forever. Dad's just always going to be here. You don't even think about the end. There's no end. Next Saturday, that's what you think about. Pack up the car, exhaust, next Saturday we'll do that. And for the first time, I sat there and looked at my dad and I said, God, how many more? How many more walks down the creek do I have with Dad? And it choked me up, of course. You know, you get choked up thinking about things like that. You come to the realization that there's going to come a time when you walk down that creek without Dad. You walk down that same creek that you walked down with Dad for so many years. You do it by yourself, or you maybe do it with your own son. And the moral of the story is call your fucking dad. Call your father. You fight with him, whatever. You have differences, of course. That's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of community. That's the beauty of America. That's the beauty of everything I've told you on the I Am Liberty show. Is that you can have differences. Bad things can happen. But you can still coexist. I mean, if your dad was a dirtbag, then it is what it is. You know that. You know what the deal is. There ain't no point in giving him a call, but if you guys are separated by some small issue, make sure you give him a call today. You start talking. Just start talking. Tell him about what's going on in your life. That's all he cares about. He don't want to tell you anything about his life. He doesn't want to tell you about the walker and about the medicines and the aches and pains that he's accrued over years of working his ass off to take care of the family that you were a part of. No. He wants to sit back in his lazy boy, watching Sports Center, and listen to how his children are doing. Maybe even his grandchildren. All right, it's 2017. One of the greatest and most honorable endeavors there are left in society is that of the father. I thank you. You are the bedrock of it all, still, no matter what they tell you, no matter what the feminists try to sell you, no matter what the progressive left try to sell you, you're still the bedrock. You'll always be the bedrock. And I thank you for that. And my one request is, we need your voice back. We need your voice back. You're the only one who can get this ship righted, Dad. And I'm not talking to my dad, I'm talking to Dad. All the dads. Myself included. Right? It's time for the voice to be heard. James Walton will die in liberty. See you next time.